Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. First, I would like to say thank you so much again for taking your time and just wanting to hear my story and how I've gotten to where I've gotten so far. So many of these messages really for close friends who have reached to me and privately, just asking like, how did you get out? Right? When it sounds kind of harsh, but the reality is that I think we're all kind of pursuing a better living lifestyle, a more healthier environment for our family and for our kids. And so in my case, I have 4 kids, ages from 4 years old all the way up to 12 years old. So it was very important for me to want a better future for them. So I will today be reviewing in this video what pushed me to overcome fear and what motivated me, what inspired me to want to move or why leave New York, right? New York has a lot of places where people want to go to, but when you've been living there for over 15 years, you feel like it's time for change. It's definitely a reason to go. All right, guys, let's start from the very beginning. Who I am. My name is Kaylin. I am a mom of 4 beautiful children, ages from 4, 6, 9, and 12. 2 girls and 2 boys. I am also a mom of special needs. So if any moms out there who follow me with special needs kids, one of the main concerns that one of my moms who struggle to move with kids with special needs is knowing the resources and knowing that wherever they go, if there's support waiting for them the way they are supported in the state of New York in my case. So a little nervous as usual. For me, this is an opportunity for me to share my testimony and also where I come from and where I plan to go. So I knew I wanted to move. Hold on, let me take a 3 deep breaths. Okay, so as usual, I am a little nervous, but I know this is the beginning to many heart desires. And when you know your purpose is to share information and to help others, you will use any platform of sorts to just get the message out there. I truthfully believe that God doesn't allow you or I to go through strong and difficult moments in our lives for no reason. There's always and always will be a reason. The reason is to get you stronger, to help others. We're here to serve. And that's what Jesus was all about, serving, helping. He was in the community, making sure others were good. So I'm here today, guys, to just share my testimony with you. And I'm so grateful for you too, because I can talk. So if you're on here watching my YouTube video, it's because you're interested in what I'm wanting to share with you today. So I knew I wanted to move when Victoria was already around 2nd grade. Because the community that I live in New York, Bronx, New York, 10468 zip code. It's a great community. I've been there for about 16 years before I moved to North Carolina. But as the years are going by, you're also noticing changes in your community. You'll notice it was getting more overpopulated to the point where everyone was outside, which means more, a little bit more chaotic, right? A little bit more a bad influence environment for our family, for our kids. We were very fortunate enough to have a little playground that we felt comfortable because we have seen children, being raised together. My daughter has really great friends in that playground. but still you will have other environments that were not of good examples for your kids. I am a truth believer. What we expose our children to, our kids get curious. Not that I'm saying they're going to become those things, but there are higher chances of being confused on what they want to pursue when they're constantly around things that are inspiring them to be those type of things, right? We end up leading those same lifestyle, those same circles. So I knew that before my daughter Victoria would start middle school in the 6th grade, the next couple of years, that I wanted to leave. So that was something that was been building up for a very while now. But it was not until I basically was lost at one point because I had attempted to open up a wonderful business before COVID happened. I don't know if you guys, many of you who have been following me, was aware that I had opened a nutrition store. It's basically a storefront in the little neighborhood called Little Italy in the Bronx. It was a great store. Met so many wonderful people, very excited to start reaching out to the community. But COVID happened and we were forced to close down our business and losing a lot of money, a lot of investments, a lot of heartbroken dreams right at that time. So that came into role, right? Like all of this is coming into a story because these were the hard times for me. The moments where I was confused. I don't know if this was not Herbalife for me, was leaving to a new state was a new idea. It was a scary thought, right? We had no family. I have no family here in the state of North Carolina, just to clarify that. So I knew I wanted to leave the state of New York because my daughter was about to start middle school. And I live in front of a middle school where I used to live. And in that middle school, I would see every night or every evening after school how kids would be hanging out in the playgrounds and doing things that they shouldn't be, like such as vaping at the age of already 12 years old, 13 years old. Now, don't get me wrong. There are children that have different methods of doing things at their way in their home. And I'm not here to judge any parent, any of the sorts. But for me, in my case, the reason of moving was because of those reasons. I knew that I didn't want my daughter to be surrounded by friends who were doing certain things and may have peer pressure her to wanting to do the same. I knew that if I wanted a better opportunity for her, I had to expose her to these better opportunities. And so that's what kind of gave me that drive and that desire to want to pursue and wanting to move for a better outcome for my family. But what really, 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 guys, brought like a switch on button, like, okay, we're doing this, was when I returned back from Mexico. I'm not sure if you guys knew, but I had gone to Mexico for a surgical procedure. Which I will share in another time and another story. But when I was in Mexico, I realized how these people were living. Like they were living in such a better environment, a beautiful home, beautiful culture. Everybody was such in a harmonic peace. There was no rush to work. There was more of like a serving attitude all the time. And for me, that was like an awakened moment. I was like, there is no way that, these people are trying to cross over because the value of money is much more here in the state of, United States. But these people were living a lifestyle much better than the people that live here. I was like, no way. There is no way that I am a U.S. citizen living in New York in a very tight, closed one-bedroom apartment. Yes, guys, you heard that right. We were raising a beautiful family in that small one-bedroom apartment, guys. But let me tell you, I am extremely grateful for my one-bedroom apartment because that apartment has shaped me, molded me, allowed me to appreciate the things that I have today. We have to start somewhere. So for my New York people who follows me, I understand completely what it is to share your living room space with others and making your living room even to a bedroom, guys. Okay, so many of us out here in North Carolina or in other states may not understand that. It's just a New York thing. People really do live very tight environments, and which causes and leads to other complications in our health and our mental health even. So with that being said, just checking time. How did North Carolina come into play? Originally, we were planning to move to Texas, San Antonio, Texas. If you have been following me, you probably saw that I had visited Texas in the month of February last year. We went there for 2 weeks. We had a great time. I fell in love with the culture. Because I love Mexico, that place, it's very close to Mexico. It was something that I could have visited more frequently. But when we were there, we were in winter time. Winter time, we're looking about 90 degrees, guys. My husband was like, no, we're not doing this. Because if we're thinking about it, it's 90 degrees in winter. Imagine when it gets to summer. That was so funny. But he was right. And so I didn't want to, like, if my partner was, like, my husband is not saying yes, then that means it's not okay. One thing for sure, guys, I will completely honestly say, I've always heard it when they say, when it's of God, you will know. Like, how? Like, would he send me a sign? Will something happen? I used to always question that, right? But he really does, because things literally just start to open up for you. In this case, I was respectful to my husband. I did understood that he said, no, it's not okay. Texas is not a good for me place to go. So I didn't push Texas on him. And I'm so proud. It's very difficult for me, especially that when I like something, I go for it. But I'm learning that not everything goes based on your emotions or right away what you want. We really have to analyze, is this state going to be convenient for me? Is my partner feeling comfortable enough? Now, there are times where partners can be a little bit like, no, for everything. And so then that kind of throws you off a little bit. But it's really important that you express your needs to your partner too. Like, allow him, if he can't see the vision because he has probably lived his entire life in a certain state, sometimes we have to borrow our vision to them. Like, give them the reason why to dream a little bit bigger. Why are we trying to move to a different state when we have everything here? Why? Like, what's the reason? And if you don't know the reason, maybe that's the first step that we have to do too. Because before, I wanted to leave the state of New York because I wanted a better, beautiful apartment. Everything that I have today is what I dreamed of at one point in my life too. But let me tell you something. Once you have these beautiful things, you really don't realize that what you really were seeking for is maybe that peace, that calm environment. But in order to get there, you need to first know what really you wanted to achieve. In my case, I wanted that calm environment the way Mexico looked. And so that's what I was pursuing for, like a better lifestyle for my family, a more calmer environment where my kids will have friends around the neighborhood and they can go out and play and be okay. All right, guys. So after Texas was a no, we have a super in our building where he was no longer a super, guys. Very blessed. We actually got to have him a super for our entire time in that building. He became literally like a grandpa to my kids and like a stepdad to me because he's such a lovable person. You guys have probably seen him on my stories before, on even on pictures. His name is Rolando. So one day, Rolando, you see this, shout out to you. But he would always share how he had beautiful daughters here in Raleigh who have purchased homes and lived a better living lifestyle. And so he would tell me, you should take all your kids to North Carolina. It's better for you. And I'll be like, okay, take me one day or something like that. But it never happened. So one day when we were back from Texas, we went in Texas around February. And like around March, I was like sad. I was like, wow, man, I'm not moving. And I'm like, my daughter's about to finish 5th grade in just a couple of months. And if we have to move, we really have to go this summer because 6th grade starts in August. So at that time, I was like, Lord, please just open doors. And, if this is of you, but if it's not, I was like, but if it's not, I'm okay. I understand. There has to be a reason you have me here. And so faith really does come when you really let go. When you say, okay, God, I can't anymore. This is really on you. Like, I really need your help. Like, what else do I need to do? And then boom, North Carolina. Like, hey, remember that Rolando talks about North Carolina a lot. Let's check out what's North Carolina besides that Church of Elevation with Stephen Furtick. He's, you always wanted to go visit. Those thoughts, right? We get constant thoughts all the time, and sometimes those thoughts are God's way of communicating with us. But because of the chaotic noise around our world around us, we sometimes don't hear it. So at that point, I said, okay, that makes sense. Let me just Google. I went online, guys. Google is my best friend. Literally, for everything I Google. Don't Google illnesses, though, because they would tell you that you're dying or something like that. And that's just scary. Anyways, so I Googled best schools in the state of North Carolina, right? Because my mindset was my kids. We really are doing it for them. We're here, but I'm also benefiting a better lifestyle, more calmer environment. So Google that, and the first thing that comes up was Community House Middle. And that is where my kids go to school. I don't mind sharing that information on here because that school is humongous. Good luck in finding my kid. Anyways, Community House Middle School is one of the best schools in the state of North Carolina here in Charlotte. And once I found the school, I started to look for rental properties around the area. And the first one that comes up was this 3-bedroom apartment that I am today. And listen, I even searched for, that was the first one that came up. And I was like, okay, let me look at the rent. The rent here for New York people will be like, wow, that's not bad. But for people who are coming from other states, maybe a little pricey. A 2-bedroom will cost around $1,600 to $1,800 around the area that I am. A 3-bedroom with 2 bathrooms will cost anywhere from $2,000 to $2,200 up to $2,500 depending on where you're at. Is it pricey? Yes, ma'am, it is. It is, sure is. It is pricey. But when you're coming from New York, you're like, oh, that's not bad. You can get a 2-bedroom for $2,000 in New York, and it's very, very small. But here, you're getting a very beautiful, wide, spacious apartment. Now, another day I'll do a tour if that's something that you guys are interested in. So you guys can look how the apartments look inside over here in Charlotte. Let me know in the comments below. So the reason why rent is a little pricey in this area that I am in, it has a lot to do with the school population. If you're looking for the top high schools and the top middle schools, the rent around the area will be more pricier because there's a lot of athletes in this area. There's a lot of people who are trying to get scholarships or are trying to pursue those type of careers. But if that's not something you're interested in, you're looking for more diversity, more culture, more family orientated, there are different type of schools with great ratings as well that are outside maybe 10 minutes from where I am, guys. And the rent is literally from $2,000 to maybe $1,200 for the same amount of room space and all that. It makes no sense. In my case, we're locked in for 3 years here. We're really pursuing for our daughter to finish her middle school in one place, and then we're looking to purchasing a home in Jesus' name, amen, within the next 5 years to later on now finish our high school for our kids. So that's in the near future with God's guidance in Jesus' name. No. So because I was working a work from home job, I was fortunate enough to apply this rental with that job and got approved. Once I moved here, guys, and this is where I'm telling you that where if God wants things to happen for you, things will just open up for you. I went to my children's school and applied for my kids, for their school year. And I also inquired. I said, hey, by any chance, do you guys have a cafeteria job position? I always visualize myself as a lunch lady. I don't know why. But I'm willing to, whatever. I just wanted to get in the school system. Especially because I am pursuing my master's in early childhood special needs. And so I was trying to, get my hours. I was trying to get my feet in the school system. So when I said that, she looked at me. The girl's name is Sandra. Many of you guys have seen her on my stories. We're really good friends now. And so Sandra was like, Miss, do you have a degree? And I was like, yeah, I do have a bachelor's degree. And so she was like, why would you want to work in a lunch room? And I said, I don't know. She's like, never underestimate what you can do. Such a positive, like, you guys don't even know. I feel like just with those words, I was like uplifted, like literally. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry. I just thought about like, anything to get my foot inside. And so she's like, no, right now we're actually needing a teacher assistant. And I suggest that you apply. And so I jumped on it, guys. Now, this is while I also had my job from New York. My New York job allowed me to keep it for just like the day after I officially moved to the state of North Carolina, which was around August. And so I was able to keep my job until then, but then I also had a job waiting for me already in the end of August because our school year starts here. And so as soon as I jumped on it, I applied. By the time August started, I was able to start with the school year, with the teachers. Within the first day of my official job, we had leadership training, guys. The environment in that school was all about energy. It was all about positive environment, positivity. It was like, oh my God, I felt like I was like in heaven because God was just surrounding me with things that were going to continue to build me and continue to push me to where I'm heading. Now, another funny story is just to tell you how crazy life works. The church next door to where I live is Elevation Church. And for me, that in the beginning, I was like, this is just crazy. Like everything, when things were just piling up, like blessings upon blessings upon blessings. And I was just like, Lord, all those years. All those years that I cried and just vented and just pleaded and said, Lord, when will I leave this place? Because, it was a little crowded already. 4 kids, 2 of my boys, 2 of my kids are on the spectrum. So if you guys, my mamas with special needs, will understand that space can be something very needed. So now I'm crying, which I was surprised I didn't cry earlier. I guess I was excited. But I am truthfully more emotional because it's like you don't realize all these years you've been praying and praying and praying and wanting, and then you were sure it was going to happen, and then it didn't happen, and then you got disappointed, then you get angry, then you go through a phase of everything. For me, this was the moving part, right? But your situation can be different. It's something that you're praying for, and you're just pleading God, and you don't understand why. But now I understand why, because if I would have left maybe 5 years sooner, I would have not gotten the experience that I've gotten as a case manager, working with populations with children with special needs, working with the population with children and adults with mental health problems. This exposure allowed me to understand better this population and also at the same time prepare me for my own family, prepare me for the job that I am having today as in Medicaid. It prepared me so much, guys, and that was because God said, not now. You wait. You're going to be here for this moment. You're going to come here for this moment. You're going to be here. Like, my careers have led up because of God. And they all have been fulfilling my purpose, which has been to serve. And I'm grateful, like so grateful. Because the reasons that I stayed was for a better purpose. So now I want to move on to the job that I have today. How did I end up losing that other job to this one? So I'm going to pause here. Okay, guys, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how did I leave the school system and now jumping from working from home. So when I was in the school system, I was there about maybe 4 months, and August, September, October, November, 5 months. I was there for 5 months. And now I'm laughing because I really much didn't last there long, but I did make an impact, and I did feel like I helped. I made so many new friends, all the kids that I was able to help. Okay, guys. So I wanted to jump on, how did I get my job from work from home? After working at the school for 5 months, around my 4-month period, I realized that I was not having the enough energy that I needed for my own family when I got home from school, because I would get my kids ready in the morning, go to school with them, work with kids from early in the morning and up until the evening. And my job and the position where I was in the school was as a teacher assistant, but primarily to assisting assisting students who were not reading, writing. And so my job was to teach them their phonics, their letters, their sight sounds. And so I would pull groups, about 10 groups, guys, of 4 to 5 kids every 30 minutes to try to teach them, because a lot of these kids were either coming from different countries and they were very behind on their academic levels of reading and writing. And then around 4 o'clock, pick up my own kids and head home and, start the rest of our day. After 4 months, I felt it. I was like, whoa, I'm feeling burned out. I had minimal energy. I wanted to just come home and rest. And so I didn't even feel energetic to go to the gym. So I knew, I was like, I just remember it like if it was yesterday. My bed was actually positioned this way, and I was laying on my husband's chest, and I was just like overwhelmed. And I said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I feel like the school, it's a great job because, you see all these kids. Like, I gave them my energy, guys, like my best. Like, I love kids. If you know me, I'm always trying to I like kids. The kids are fun. So that's why I have so many of them. But when you work with them every single day and then you come home to your own kids, and my kids want their mom, you come to a point where you're like, wait, this is a lot of energy and I don't have that energy. And so I was like, I'm burned out. I can't. And so he's like, okay. Like, I'm like, I need something from home. I just said it like that. I need something from home. And I started I was crying. I remember I cried. I just cried it out. Crying is good, mi gente. This is God's gift to us to allow us to express and release instead of holding things inside. So anyways, I cried and I released all those emotions out. And I'm just like, I really need something that will allow me to be a mom, work full-time mom, be there for my kids, have the flexibility to be there, and also have time for myself. I said like that. I said it like that, and I said, God knows that I need that, and I cried, and that's it. Once I finished saying that, and I prayed about it, I was like, Lord, please help me. No lies. About a week later, I get an email and saying, hi, we are so-and-so from this company, which this information I will share on the below in details and also with you guys. The company is called Care Nationals. And it was an email, and they were like, hi, we found your information and we wanted to know if you would be interested in work from home job with a company that's called Alliance Health, such and forth and such and forth. And I said in that email, I'm like, that's funny. I was just, how did they know that I'm looking for another job? Because I had not applied. Of course, I know devices do hear things, guys, but I don't think I had my device that day on me. It was not with me. It was just me and my husband here. We were on our phone. We were just talking. But I said, interesting. And so I said, okay. I opened it up and I read the details. I saw that it was work from home. You had to live in the Charlotte area, minimum bachelor's degree. And I said, you know what? Nothing hurts to try and apply. When I applied, I immediately got a response setting up the first interview. I was shocked. I was like, wait, is this for real? And I scheduled the first interview. And guys, long story short, guys, I never applied for this position. I never searched for it, a work from home job. It was just a thought. It was just an idea. It was a cry of desperation to God, knowing that I wanted to give my best to my kids, but the position that I wasn't allowing me to. And just to tell you that, God was like, okay, wait, you need more. Like, let me adjust your things because things are not working. God, it's crazy. I'm just like, Lord, you're amazing. Like, I give all glory to him because, like I said, if he wants it for you, it will happen. I promise. Now, the company is called Care National. And so basically what they're a company that they actually go on Indeed and start looking for applicants who have the qualifications that a bigger company may need. In my case, my company is called Alliance Health, and they paid Care National to seek for new members like us. So Alliance Health is a MCO. It's a managed care organization that provides insurance for members who are in the mental health population, IDD, which stands for intellectual developmental disability, or illness or any type of illness that they may have or disability. And so we are Medicaid. We cover the more higher attention members, and we provide services by helping them, connecting them to providers. Like, for example, I get a lot of calls during my day where members do not know anything about resources from kids who have autism, cerebral palsy. They don't realize that their insurance is now currently covering a lot of these services. And so when they call, they're like, I'm calling and just, I don't know a lot of information. And so when I get to pour back and just provide resources and just kind of redirecting them, even when my own personal experiences, because of the things that I've learned along the way as a mom with special needs, I'm truthfully just telling you that God is amazing. How do I land in this position? How did I end up here? It's all truthfully to the glory to Him. When you pray, when you believe, and when you overcome those fears of, like, will He have me? Then you will start seeing things flourish for you. I think I kind of really spoke a lot on the importance of our mindset too. That's something that is very important for us to also achieve. Okay, guys. Now that I shared how I ended up in North Carolina and how I ended up having my job that I have today, at the end of our video, I will provide resources in the bottom, like in the description box. You'll find links to where you can apply for the company that I work for. And also with the company that actually reached out to me, if you wanted to have more of an assistance in finding other resources. So for example, Care National is a company that is hired by bigger companies to find new employees. So if you reach to Care National and let them know your intentions, your degrees, your experiences, they can find what will work for you. It may not be with Medicaid, but they also work with different agencies that provide work from home jobs. Other cool thing about this company, guys, is that when I officially got hired, they still checked up on me every other 2 weeks to see how I was feeling with the company. And they even sent me a little box with a bunch of brownies. They were so good. I love brownies. And so just saying congratulations on your new job, but guys, the company itself was a blessing. God used that company to give me a better job, where now I only work 4 days out of the week and I'm off 2 days during the week when my kids are in school. So these are things that I'm able to enjoy for myself. I go to yoga, I go do my nails, I spend time to clean my home. I'm able to do things that I wasn't able to. So guys, all I want to say is that all of this started when I changed the way I saw things around me. When I finally realized that life is more than just four walls. Life is more than just a small neighborhood. There's more. There's things out there. But what truthfully holds us back from really pursuing those dreams and those crazy ideas of moving to a better home or to a better neighborhood or even a beautiful place is the fear of doubt that what if it doesn't go right? What if you move and you don't find work? Or what if you move and people around you are just different? That's what kind of held me back for a very long time. Especially when I was a child, I did live in a different state. My parents tried moving out of the state of New York and pursuing a better lifestyle for me and possibly a future brother or sister. My father saw a better place for us. He moved us to the state of Florida. And there, I got to see other things too. But eventually, work in Florida became a little bit more difficult, and it let no other reasons to my father but to come back to a place where he had a job waiting for him. And so that's how I ended back in New York and continue my relationship with my spouse, who is now my boyfriend at that time, but was now my husband. We've been together for 16 years and had 4 kids, and lived in the state of New York, Bronx, New York for 16 years. One of the things that held me in New York for so long is the fear of repeating the same mistake my parents did, which was going to a different state and having to return back to the other because it didn't work. And so I said, why do even I try? If it didn't work for them, why would it work for us, right? And so that's the mindset that I had stuck myself to for a very long time. And then the other mindset that stuck me to was all the resources are here in New York. New York gives you food stamps, they give you Medicaid, they give you support when you have children with special needs, they do everything for you. But what you don't realize is it's also kind of like a trap. It keeps you trapped to a place where they want you to live, in a community that they want you surrounded in, and being just confined with the little that they're giving you. And so I knew that if I wanted more for my family, if I wanted more for myself, I needed to remove myself from an environment that I was not going to grow. And that's what I did. How did I pursue that? Well, first of all, I started to believe in myself. I started to believe that it was possible for me. A girl that has 2 parents who pursued a bigger dream in America, live a better lifestyle. And the way I did that was through my books. And that's how I'm going to end my long YouTube video. But, you know, if you're here, guys, you knew it. I needed to talk it out. And so thank you for still watching. So the way I changed the way I thought things, guys, is by putting new systems and new beliefs in my mind. First of all, we're not raised to learn to read. Like, nobody's born and automatically knows how to read. They have to learn, and eventually they find a passion and develop it even more. But there are some of us who have other complications that causes you to want to even learn how to read or want to read. In my case, it was a little different. I do enjoy reading. But I found it very difficult to stop time and actually do it, especially as a mom. But what worked for me is really, really disciplining myself and knowing that if things are going to change for me, I have to change. And it all started with my personal development as I developed it through my Herbalife. Herbalife was the first company that introduced me to personal growth. But I didn't start taking it seriously was until 2 years ago. All those audios, right? Have you ever heard that saying that we listen to so many things, but we don't put it into practice or even into play ourselves? That's a common mistake. And the Word of God, it says it too. Like, we look at ourselves, we hear all these advice, and it's just like nothing. It's like slapping yourself across the face because you're not really listening to the message. In my case, I was listening to my personal development, but was not putting things into action. Until I took it seriously. I was like, all right, let me really get down to this. First, it was through my darkest time. Let's go back to my books. My darkest time was when I hit rock bottom, guys, and I needed to pull myself out of that deep depression that I was in after giving birth to Ezekiel. I lost my best friend, Mealy, my grandfather, who was like a father to me from COVID, lost my business, had diagnosis with my boys, and it's just one news after news, right? I knew that the first step for me to get out of that hole was to change the way I was looking at things. And so I started to read a book, excuse me. And the first book that I read was The Battlefield of the Mind. The Battlefield of the Mind was the first book that helped me awake and say, hey, we're going through a battle. You're not alone. God is with you. It's just we need to really, really pray harder and believe harder, because there were times that I felt like I couldn't keep going. It was a lot. And I think that one day I will come in here and share that part of my life. That's a different subject from moving and work from home. But let's go back to the subject. So back to the subject, guys. Books that changed me to pursue and to want to be better and live a better life for my family and myself. First one would be The Seasons of Life by Jim Rohn. An excellent author, philosopher, mentor. He is life transforming. His teachings are all based on Bible, guys. And I love it because he doesn't really preach the word. He just preaches a message, like encourages you, kind of tells you, hey, let's get yourself together, pursue better outcomes. There are better things out there for you. And then he would throw in a biblical message or a verse in there. And that's really what I love about him. Because he fulfilled his purpose. He served and helped others and taught a lot of people, even after he passed away. Even myself, I consider myself one of his students. But this book, guys, prepares you for every season of your life. It's really good. Highly recommend it. And then this one right here, Today Matters. This one right here was the one I read nonstop the minute in January 2023 when I said I'm moving, and every day would kind of like push me to want to even do more, take notes, and like, no, we got this today. Okay, so for example, it says here, Today Matters. What do you stand when it comes to thinking today? Ask yourself these 3 questions. Have you made a decision to practice good thinking development daily? And I put no. If so, when did I make that decision? I put today. What exactly did I decide? Write it here. I decided that I need to focus what really is important here. What am I trying to achieve? I was asking myself. I said, okay, I want to move, better schools, new opportunities, a new start, a new chapter, more matureness mentally, and become stronger. Teach my kids that anything is possible. And so it talks about other things that how I can do that. And so I said, I want to learn also how to breathe deeper, feel my body and my chest when it's getting anxious, and learning how to reanalyze my emotions and settle down and start thinking positive to prevent those panic attacks, and also believing that things are possible for me. Because yes, I did have really, really bad panic attacks. After COVID, things just really got crazy for me. But guys, I share this because even through all that craziness, and even through that darkness, and even through all that tears and frustration and anxiety, I still came out and I still pulled through. And that all has to be to him, to his glory, to my God. Because he listens to our prayers. He does listen to our petitions, to our hearts, and he will approve what's good for you. Sometimes we are hard-headed and we go ahead and do things even when you know it's not right, and then question why it didn't work out. But it has a lot to do because we didn't listen to his cues. And so for me, this is another author, John Maxwell, who is a leader, an amazing leader. I'm actually reading this one. I'm almost done. And he is a leader who trains leaders to become better leaders. That's a little leaders. But he's also a believer, and he brings a lot of his words of encouragement, of his verse Bibles in here too. A lot of his philosophy and teaching is based on the Bible too. So if you're looking for another leadership book or something to encourage you and want to do better for yourself, I highly recommend this one, Today Matters, which just talks about what the title is about, that today is the only day that should matter for you. And pues nada, mi gente, my beautiful people. I think I spoke a lot. I think this video is possibly maybe 45 minutes long. And but I do want to take the time and say thank you. Thank you to all of you who took your time and just to hear me out. And hear my testimony and just hear my triumphs too. Just wanted to just say to you that if maybe you're in this moment, in a dark moment of your life, and you feel like you can dig yourself out of there, I want to say that you can. So I'm here to encourage you that even through hard times when we feel like nothing seems to be working for us and you're just confused in what to do, I want to encourage you that things are possible for you too. If moving has been something part of your heart and you've been really wanting to move to a different state and don't know where to start, My best advice would first start pursuing what you really are trying to pursue. So, for example, if you're looking for better schools, better employment, better opportunities, like it really has to narrow to one purpose. And so in my case was better schools. And so that kind of pinpointed to where I was going. And then after work, another thing that I know that's going to be common is, how do I move if I don't have a work waiting for me? The way I would have done it if I was moving to Texas without work was, I was planning to do a rental. They have vacational rentals and also short-term lease rentals, like 3 to 6 months. And you basically can pay in advance the rent for 2-3 months in advance. And then while you're living in this rental property, you're also looking for work in your area. Yes, ideally it would be the best to move into a place where, or a state that something's waiting for you. But in most cases, we do not have that. And so most of the time, that's what holds us back from even pursuing. Another thing I would say, there's a lot of agencies that are now hiring, especially within the Department of Social Services, Human Resources, schools, MCOs, which for like health insurances, CMAs. There's a lot of companies out here that are hiring because of the increase of demand that we have now with new members needing Medicaid, from foreign members that are coming from different countries. And so don't feel discouraged to even look. So for sure, search up online and start seeking for work from home or even from in person. Thank you guys so much for watching and for listening to my story. I hope my story can somehow inspire you to pursue your dreams and your goals and wanting to do anything that has to do with improving your self-improvement of life. If you guys need anything, or if you guys have any questions or any suggestions on what else that you want me to talk about on here, please below leave your comments, subscribe, like, share. My goal is truly to help others out here who are needing ideas on how to move or ideas on how to become healthier or just pursuing a just more easier, calmer lifestyle. And pues nada, thank you so much for your support and have a blessed day. Cheers.